Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting. Envisioned Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. An affiliate of Direct Impact Broadcasting and Creative Broadcasting, presenting the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The EmPower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Welcome to EmPower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore. A little bit about myself. I am a best-selling author with over 18 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management, and development, owner and founder of EmPower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide leadership training and personal professional coaching and consulting services. Certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and owner of Envision Broadcasting radio station. Before I announce my special guest this evening, I would like to announce an upcoming workshop sponsored by EmPower on Purpose. We are at the end of November. Can you guys believe that? And before you know it, we'll be saying goodbye to 2019 and hello to 2020. Don't wait until 2020 to level up and get focused. You still have one chance to get signed up for the last networking vision board workshop that's being offered this year. The next workshop is actually this Sunday, December 1st at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. During this workshop, you will learn a proven framework to help you tap into your true desires and dreams, use those desires to set intentional goals, and then outline an achievable plan. Whether you have created a vision board in the past or if this will be your first vision board, I guarantee that you will enjoy an amazing atmosphere with great vibration, laughter, and fun while you write your vision with power and purpose. To register or to find out more details, please visit www.empoweronpurpose.com, or you can visit the EmPower on Purpose Eventbrite page. Today's empowerment quote is, "Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does," by William James. So this quote is very personal to me because there was a point in my business and my life when I knew I wanted to help others and empower them for growth and success. I knew that my purpose in life was to empower and motivate others to believe in themselves and their dreams. However, we can get so caught up in our business and the hustle and bustle, and we don't stop to let things sink in. Don't get me wrong. I definitely understand the value in what I do for EmPower on Purpose, but when you hear the testimonies and the stories from clients that share their growth and their success, and that they have achieved the results of being coached by me or attending one of my master classes, it's definitely a humbling experience, and appreciation that I don't take lightly. Sometimes we just have to take a moment and let it all sink in. Let it sink in that your gift, your talent, your greatness is needed in the world. And one of my long-term mentors once said to me, if you wake up every morning like the world needs you, like someone needs to hear your story, someone needs you to teach them, someone needs you to share your gift, you will make a great impact, not just in others' lives, but your own. Today is your opportunity to own the difference that you make. It's your day to make an impact. It's your day to let your greatness shine. Without further delay, today my guest is Regina Gobinas. Regina Gobinas has worked with over 100 companies, each generating anywhere from 2 to 20 million in gross annual revenue. Her objective was to teach the CEO and management how to properly navigate every aspect of all areas within the company. Regina's function was to reorganize the CEOs themselves, basically taking the driver's seat, teaching the CEO how to run and grow their company correctly, improving their cash flow, and position the company for long-term success. Her key focus has now gone from helping reorganize companies to helping CEOs and entrepreneurs avoid those mistakes and decisions which bring them to financial chaos and catastrophic failure. Regina's true passion lies in helping companies grow correctly to ensure long-term success and profitability, and to inspire and guide the CEOs to achieve their absolute highest potential. Welcome, Regina. You are absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. How are you this evening?
I am fantastic. And first of all, let me tell you, what an introduction. Thank you. Thank you. Pleased to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I just shared, some of your bio with the listeners. Could you give us just a little bit more about your background and share a little bit more as far as what you do?
Absolutely, happy to. I wish I told you that, I wish that I could tell you and the listeners that I've got this highest top-notch education and all the wonderful stuff that happens, business management school and all the accolades, but I never did well in school, but I was extremely hungry for life. Just that personality that just wanted to get out into life and just wanted to live. And another piece of that was I just knew that I was made to be of service, and I just did not know exactly how. And I found my absolute purpose in being of service to entrepreneurs and CEOs and helping them just navigate their companies to profitability, because so many businesses fail, and there are reasons for that. And I just found my place and my purpose and being able to teach them how to scale correctly and how to position and concrete themselves so that they're actually here 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So it has been an incredible journey, well over 100 companies, tens of thousands of jobs saved and created, marriages saved, because as you can imagine, when there is financial chaos in a company, it does bleed into the family. And I've seen marriages fall apart and have been able to successfully reconnect a lot of them back together. So this has been, and I'm still so young and I have so much to do, but this has certainly been so far a life worth living, full of incredible blessings of being able to be of service to so many incredible human beings.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing. As you mentioned, you recognize, your passion and your purpose. And it's absolutely wonderful when you can be living in your passion, doing the things that you're passionate about and living in your purpose. So you did mention that you've worked with over, 100 companies. Can you share a little bit more as far as what type of businesses you've worked with and, truly what kind of techniques maybe you've used to help some of them?
Absolutely. So I am not industry specific because people think, a lot of my clients ask me, well, do you know my industry? The truth is, if you really think about it, any business, I don't care what country you're in, I don't care what industry you're in, business consists of only two things. It consists of people and money, correct? You need people to provide a service to generate money. So the truth is, any business consists of two components, people and money. I've been very lucky to understand both. I understand people and navigating people, and I understand the nature of money because money is extremely organic. You make money by providing service and providing value. Money is just a byproduct of that. So because I'm not industry specific, I can work with any company you can imagine. But the absolute best companies are the ones that actually follow directions. Now, the two main things that I've also learned is that businesses will fail or not succeed for two reasons. And these are the two key points. So if CEOs, entrepreneurs get them, you're unstoppable. And number one reason is that the CEO will fail, the company will fail, is that the company's needs, and there's no exceptions to this rule, the company's needs will always outgrow the knowledge base of the CEO. What do I mean by that? We as one human, every single one of us as one individual, we only have so much information. We can continue learning on a daily basis, but we still have a limit to the information in our memory bank. It's a fact. And the company's needs, as long as the company is operating, it needs continues to grow, right? So if a CEO is at a specific spot, but the company's needs have outgrown and continue to outgrow the knowledge base of the CEO, which will happen all the time. I've never seen an exception to that. That difference between the knowledge base of the CEO, the information they possess, and the needs of the company now that have exceeded that knowledge base, that's where people start to accrue a negative because they don't know what to do in that space. So number one is it's extremely important for the CEO to recognize that we need to know as human beings that we're not smart enough to know everything. And it's okay. The second part of that is that, there's also the second piece of the puzzle, is that companies without a solid infrastructure really don't have a chance of survival. Because you can't know everything, and you need a solid team. And the keys to having a solid team is to have the people that support your mission and your vision as the CEO. Because if you have people that are running a different direction than you're going, it's not very productive or financially stable. It creates chaos in the company. So the second piece of the puzzle is extremely important to have an infrastructure. And the infrastructure you must surround yourself and your business with people that support your mission and your vision as the CEO. So everybody's pushing in the same direction.
Absolutely. I think that is so important. I love the fact that how you mentioned, and just thinking about the CEO, the CEOs and how, at the end of the day, and I mean, this can apply to, any leader, but we don't know what you don't know. And so, I think it's so important for, CEOs and, actually under the CEOs and above to, practice that growth and make sure that they're continuing, just to grow, within their actual roles. So just sticking along those lines. So what do you really, truly feel like made you have or helped you find that passion for helping those companies and the leadership in the companies to grow to their fullest potential?
I think ever since I was little, I knew that I was made for a purpose. I had zero doubt that I was created for something to make a great impact. My struggle was I didn't know what that was. So the analogy that I've given a few times that actually resonates with people, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners will embrace it and understand it. I felt like I was walking around with the key in my hand and trying every possible door to see which one opens. And I knew that would be my purpose. So because I knew I was here for a reason, and I knew that time is limited on this earth, that made me very anxious to find my purpose as soon as I could. And I have to tell you, the moment I bumped into corporate restructuring, I felt like I could breathe. I felt that I found my purpose, but I don't want to fool anybody. I knew that I was standing just at the bottom of the hill. It's not that I said, okay, I'm here, I'm going to sit down and relax now. I knew that now that I found the door I'm supposed to walk through, the battle is just about to start, because now I had to prove myself. Now, keep in mind, I was early 20s. A 24-year-old girl with no education, really, to back up my purpose and my mission. So it wasn't that easy to get to people, to CEOs, to actually pay attention to me and listen to me. So that's what I'm saying. I found myself at the bottom of the hill. The relief was the fact that I found my purpose. The stress point was the fact that I found my purpose and now had to concrete my position in it. And that certainly was not an easy battle at all.
Absolutely. So how is it that you handle or, you kind of deal with a leader who you have recognized that maybe they're still trying to find their purpose? We all have, I come across a lot of people who are telling me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or I'm not sure how to navigate certain things. I genuinely believe that all of us have a purpose and a mission.
our job is to line up to it and to find it and to step into it. The way I navigate people to it is you talk to people, you lead them to conversations, and then you pay attention to what lights up the fire inside them, and then you focus on that. Because once people, here's the main reason, the second main reason we need to find our purpose. Number one, we need to find our purpose to fulfill our mission on this earth while we're here. The second reason is if you can really step into your purpose, once I navigate the CEOs to their purpose and teach them how to actually accept it and embrace it, you feel not only unstoppable, but in the moments where you feel depleted and exhausted, just the knowledge that you're in your purpose will fuel that fire to help you get back onto your feet. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that is so important. You know, being a coach myself, you know, I think often come in contact with several, you know, people or clients that are still trying to discover that purpose. And, you know, I couldn't agree with you more when you say that you have to talk to people. I think that is so important. And often in talking to people, they actually are able to clarify, you know, and understand what their purpose is in just having a conversation, you know, that getting that clarity. So, yeah, I think that is extremely, extremely, you know, and important. And so you've mentioned, and, you know, we kind of talked about a little bit as far as, you know, we definitely know that you have had some success or continue to have success with, you know, your methods. How do you think that, or what do you attribute to the success that you've had with being able to, you know, to coach the CEOs and some of the other clients and companies that you've worked with?
I attribute all of my success to my undying desire to help people achieve their original blueprint. Like I said, just like we'll have a purpose, that is our blueprint. We all made a specific way. And I have seen people that actually allow me to guide them to their blueprint, and they become unstoppable is an understatement. And to know that I can help people get that to that place, I feel like I get kind of a check mark for myself in the heavens, if that makes sense. So it's, you know, because just to watch people light up, because think about this, if I am impacting one CEO, for example, my biggest client was 350 employees. So think about this, if I'm impacting one CEO and I'm teaching them to be a better human being, a better CEO, a better leader, a better everything, and that one person goes out and impacts 350 other lives. It is incredible, really, what our reach can be as one person. It is incredible what my reach can be as one person. That to me is, I know that I will look back at my life at one point when I'm old and gray, as I say it, and I will know that I've lived with a purpose. I've lived with a mission. I've impacted an insane amount of lives. By the way, by me teaching the CEOs, I teach people in a way that makes them want to teach others. So the teachings doesn't stop. I inspire them. So for me to know that that person inspires their people under their leadership and then take this information and it flows into their personal life, I mean, what else can I ask for to do with my life than to impact that many people on a daily basis?
Absolutely. And you know, it has to be just such a humbling experience, and, you know, just to see how many people that, you know, from having that initial conversation and coaching with that CEO, how many people truly it impacts. And it just truly shows how much influence we truly have, and, you know, how important it is to have a coach, especially at that level. I think it's important to have a coach at all levels, but it's, you know, really extremely important to have a coach and to have several coaches, no matter what level you are within, you know, your organization. So
absolutely.
What would you truly say has been your biggest accomplishment up to this point?
My biggest accomplishment has been not giving up. And I will tell you why. Working with people, I always say, people are people. People are not easy. Look, I'm not easy. So working with people that are 5 million, 10 million, 15 million in debt, they are not easy, period. There's nothing easy about them. Navigating 10, 12, 15 companies in financial chaos at the same time on a daily basis is extremely difficult. I think the only reason I kept pushing forward and not giving up because I knew that God made me for this. Otherwise, it would have been very easy to walk away. So my biggest accomplishment really is just not giving up on the things that I've committed my life to. And it's not easy. When you're a coach, and I'm sure you can relate, when you're a business life and business strategist, a coach, a mentor, whatever you want to call, when you're responsible for people's lives, it can get very exhausting and very depleting because if we don't have a good system to stand on when we get away from work, because our job is to give people and people take from us. So it is very easy to get depleted and fast. So the biggest accomplishment has been not giving up, but not giving up has taken a lot of work on my end, working the triangle, mind, body, spirit, feeding and fueling myself constantly, which allows me to show up to work every single day, completed and entirely ready to serve and deliver at the maximum capacity. But that was a long-winded answer, and I apologize. So the short of it is not giving up has been my biggest accomplishment.
No, I think you really, made some great points because at the end of the day, it's so important not to give up. And even as far as from the coach, standpoint, there's, as you mentioned, it's a give and take. And if you don't have that balance outside of, your coaching, your business, and all of that to where you're taking care of self, then you have nothing that you really can give. So it's so important, and I'll tell any and everyone that at the end of the day, just having to practice taking care of yourself, that self-care, it is extremely important. And I love the fact that you mentioned that you kept pushing forward because you recognize that this was why you were created. This was your purpose. And so, I like to believe that God just kept pushing you, don't give up. And I'm sure that so many entrepreneurs and, business professionals that's out there that's listening, you just have to keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. Don't give up on your dreams because it'll definitely happen for you eventually. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge then?
Funny enough, the answer is the same. The biggest challenge has been to not give up. The biggest challenge really has been to not give up. And it is so true. Like we talked already about, being in the purpose is incredible. But when people say, I found my purpose, everything is going to be perfect from now on, walking in your purpose is hard because you have the sense of responsibility. And I just knew that if I give up, and challenges are challenges and they're hard. Listen, I'm a human being, I'm a woman, I'm a mother. There's so much going outside of the issues that my clients have. I also have a life, so it's hard. It's very, very difficult. But I think the magic also of knowing when you walk in your purpose, you kind of know, look, if I just give up and I stop, it's not like God's going to give me something else to do. He's going to kick my butt right back on that path. I'm just going to waste some time, create some chaos, cause myself some headaches. He's still going to get me where he needs me. So I got to a point where I really would tell myself, like, why are you fighting this? You're still going to do what he wants you to do. Get your butt off that, whatever couch or whatever I'm doing when I don't feel like doing it. And because what happens is when we get off our path, we'll lose momentum. You're still going to get back on it. You've just lost time, money, and created some unnecessary chaos for yourself. So not giving up. The answer is the same, not giving up. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. So and I know we've talked about, some of the accomplishments and challenges, but, we know that in this world, in the coaching, world as well, that there's always going to be those disappointments. And so share with us maybe one of your biggest disappointments and then a lesson that you learned from it.
My biggest disappointments, and there are probably more than one, but it's the same. When the clients don't stay long enough to finish the process, leave, and end up ultimately failing. Why is that a disappointment? Is it a disappointment because they left and that revenue, that income went away? No, absolutely not. The disappointment is that I feel like I failed. I feel so responsible for every single person that I work with that when people don't stay long enough to make their lives better because they don't want to or they don't want to work hard, whatever the reason is, I never tell myself they're leaving because they don't want to work hard, because some people just don't want to work hard, and that's okay. I tell myself I probably could have done better. I take complete and full responsibility. But I've always been the type to be very hard on myself. But also being hard on myself has kept me in the game for almost 2 decades because I take complete responsibility. So these moments I feel when people leave, which doesn't happen very often, but when you work with so many people, people come and go. I feel that I could have done, I start to overanalyze. Could I have done something better as a leader? Should I shore things up? Do I need to repackage the information and feed it to them differently? So I start going through that because I believe as a leader, it's our responsibility to lead, and not everybody's led the same way. Our job is to find the approach to everybody that we lead because our job is to teach them, right? My job is to lead, teach, and inspire people. So if people leave before the process is done, I take it personally and I tell myself, okay, how could you have done this better? And sometimes maybe the answer I couldn't have. People just don't want to do the work. But I never give myself that way out because I force myself to learn better ways of leadership because there's always better ways of leadership. So that keeps me responsible and accountable.
And I think that's good. I think that's awesome. Although I heard you say that, you feel like you failed, but it's that reflection that it sounds like that you do, anytime that happens, to where you're able to look at it and say, you know what, how could I mean, I would, because I will tell you that this is something that I do, after each session or once the package ends as far as with the clients that I have as well. And so it's having that reflection time where you're looking at, what could I have done better? And it sounds like that's what you're doing. And I think that there's something to be said about that reflection time because as a great and a good leader, you recognize that. And I think that's awesome. I heard you say that, you feel like you failed, but I think that's definitely winning. From a different perspective, certainly, you're definitely sad to see some of, your clients go because you want to be able to help them. That's exactly when you're living in your purpose, you definitely want to be able to help them, completely. You want them to win. You want them to succeed. However, if they're not willing to put in the work and, do what is required of them and recognize that, and maybe they need to take that time and come back. And, to understand that. But, I definitely think it's awesome that you do have that reflecting time to just, take a step back and say, what can I have done differently as a leader? How can I, improve? How can I, look at either your process or your methods to, maybe the next time that person, if they do come back to help them a little bit further. So I just want to, applaud you on that because I'm huge on reflecting, and I think that it's so important as coaches just to have that reflecting time as often as we can, to not see things as failures, but, like, okay, we're going to fail forward, but we're also going to look at those lessons and reflect to see how we can be better as leaders. So
yes, and also, I'm sorry, just to add to that, I also learned that regardless of the situation, if I cannot tell myself I am responsible for everything, I'm not a good leader, because the leader is responsible for everything, right? As the leader of your home, you're responsible for everything. As the leader of the company, you're responsible for everything. As the leader of all of these clients, of all of these people that God has entrusted me with, I'm responsible for everything, for their bad behavior, for their bad decisions. I'm responsible, because the only way I can grow, the only way I can learn and be an example, if I say I'm responsible. Because the easiest thing is to say, look, they were a pain in the neck. They don't want to do anything. I don't care. They can go. They can do it. That is really the easiest thing for anybody to do when people are being difficult. But if I can really, I grow as a human being, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, if I can really step aside from my ego, step aside from everything and say, look, I don't care what they did. I'm responsible. I'm responsible for these people, and something did not register. Something did not come across. Something did not make it from my mouth into the inside of their brain. I missed somewhere. Because if we take responsibility for all of it and don't let ourselves off the hook, we're better for it. I'm stronger and better I'm a better leader for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you think that, as in businesses, do you think that in a business has to have good or great leadership in order to succeed? If you can speak on that a little bit. And what do you truly define as good leadership?
I do not believe a business can succeed without correct leadership. Think about a sports team. And I'm not very athletic at all, but a sports team is a great example. If you have top-notch players on the field without a trainer, you don't have a good team. They play well alone, one by one, but if somebody's not navigating the process, you don't have a team. You just have 12, 15, 20 people running around doing whatever they're doing. Somebody has to lead the pack. Otherwise, you have 15 people with their 15 ideas of how a company should be ran. And most of the time, those ideas are not going to line up, and they're not going to be the same. There is a reason leaderships exist. A teacher in a classroom, you don't see people, even in college, we're talking about adults. Nobody just lets them in and says, okay, teach yourself. There is a leader in the class. The army, somebody is in charge. So any organization, whether it's a business or anything outside of it that has multiple people, always has a leader, because somebody has to have a specific direction, a mission, and a purpose. Otherwise, you have everybody moving into a different direction, and nothing happens. Nothing happens without order. Nothing happens without structure. A home is no different. Somebody needs to lead the main agenda of the household, and everybody supports it. Then you prosper. Even our friendships, our relationships, but the business, to give you a specific answer, business cannot and will not survive without correct leadership. The second part of the question, what makes a good leader? What indicates if you're a good leader? When you turn around and you see people following you. If people are not following you, it's as black and white as that. There is a break in the delivery of the information. And it doesn't mean you're a bad leader. It just means that maybe you need to repackage the information to the audience, to your followers. It can be as simple as that. But if you turn around and nobody follows, there is a problem.
That's good. That's good. Absolutely. So then when we think about some of the struggles, that happen, of course, in every organization and in businesses, do you think struggles can truly help a business grow? Or do they often sometimes result in failure?
I think struggles are necessary evil because we as human beings are slow learners. I know that I am. It's human nature. Unless we get into trouble, we do not seem to learn the lessons. It's how it works. And by the way, I know that people like to separate business and personal, but the truth is everything is everything. The way we're in business is the way we're in personal relationships. The way we're in personal relationships is the way that we are in business. So are struggles necessary? No. Ways to navigate and build companies and build lives without having to struggle. Do most people do it that way? No, it's too easy. We like to complicate life. It's human nature. So fortunately or unfortunately, we'll learn through mistakes, we'll learn through bad decisions, and then we correct the course. Is it possible to correct the course with proper guidance and proper strategies? Yes, you can. If the CEOs, business owners make mistakes and do not bring correct strategists or mentors on board at the right time, they usually do not have any chance of survival because they keep operating with the same mentality and the same decision-making process that got them in trouble to begin with. And also the key to that, a lot of people see coaching and strategists for their companies as an expense. And it is extremely important to understand that we are not an expense. We are the best investment that they can make. There is a difference between expense and an investment. And bringing the right guidance on board is an investment that's going to come back 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 times fold will come back. So are mistakes necessary? No. Does human nature like to set up its own obstacle courses and then have to jump through hoops of fire? Yes, that's how we learn. So it's just the nature of the beast, as I call it.
Absolutely. And so I know that we probably have all heard, I think the quote is by maybe Harry Truman, that said, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And I think I may have heard that the average CEO reads something like maybe almost 50-something books a year. Can you share one book that you think is a must-read for entrepreneurs, for business owners, CEOs, for anyone that's listening? Just the book that you think is just an absolute must-read.
Absolutely, and this is the book that probably most of the world knows, and if you don't, get familiar with it like now. And it has withstood the test of time, and it will continue to be the leading book, I think, in any industry I don't care if it's now or a million years from now. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is an incredible, incredible book because it teaches people most importantly, the organic nature of money. And this is something that is not taught anywhere pretty much. But when people understand the organic nature of money and the power of mind, it is more important than knowing the mechanical aspect of it. Because there is zero chance of success in personal life, in personal relationships, or businesses unless people understand that there is two sides of the coin, that there is mechanical and organic. One without the other does not exist and will not survive. It's an example I gave to somebody, one of my clients I spoke with this morning, and I said, think about currency. I do not care where you go on this planet. If you have a metal coin or a paper money, if it's only printed on one side and the other side is blank, it is completely worthless, right? It has no value. Mm-hmm. The only time money has value is if it's printed on both sides, coin or paper. That is precisely, and I hope everybody really gets their brain around it. This is very important. That is precisely why relationships and businesses and lives thrive, because we have the mechanical and the organic side of it. Both sides, when you've got both sides, it's got value. And that book, Think and Grow Rich, is perfect navigational map for people how to achieve both sides of the coin in their business and their life. If you haven't read it, this needs to be the next thing you touch after you hear this.
Absolutely. I have to completely agree with you. My first time reading Think and Grow Rich was maybe not even 5 years ago. And it absolutely just changes. It changed my life completely.
Yes.
I would just say that it absolutely changed my life. I just happened to be going through a study with one of my mentors of the actual, the book, and it completely just blew my mind. And so it's a book that I definitely keep close to me. I've read it several times. I refer to it, I don't know how many different times. I have actually shared, as you mentioned as well, with clients about Think and Grow Rich. With anyone that has not read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, this is a must-read, absolutely must-read, hands down, for any and everyone, no matter where you're at on your journey. You will definitely, just benefit from reading it, and it's a must-have. So I definitely just had to, say that as well, because hands down, I completely agree with you. Think and Grow Rich is a must-read. It's an amazing book, and I think that, everyone should read it at least once, several times, throughout the course of your life.
Absolutely, yes. And not only that, just on a side note, read it, have it playing in your car when you're driving, in your earphones, whatever, but have it, yes, absolutely. This is, for me, just like you're saying, it was eye-opening and life-changing. Absolutely. It's an amazing work of art. I think it's a work of art, honestly. I really do.
I do too. I completely agree with you. And I, just to really, quickly to mention that, the first part of the study that I actually went through was, talking about the chapter of persistence. And so we had to read that chapter for 10 days. And if you went by, if you skipped a day or missed a day, you started back over. Your 10 days started back over. That alone, when I went through that, it completely blew my mind, because I had to start over a few times. And it just really shows you how, okay, this is a chapter of persistence. And, so, not to really get too much into that, but I love this. I love Think and Grow Rich. I absolutely love it. Completely.
Yes. Yes.
So we both know how important it is to, to be a coach, to others and mentor others. Could you share a little bit, with the listeners on what impact, with being a mentor and a mentee has had on your business and personal growth?
I think, I'm not sure if I mentioned at the beginning or not, I think a fulfilled life is definitely one where you serve people, or you can be of service. The impact it has had on me and on my life is knowing that I'm living in my purpose. For me to, and I hope the listeners can really hear my heart when I say the following. For me to know that I have helped families keep a roof over their head, because I don't see it, I've helped a company. I really understand the power of helping people, meaning I am blessed and lucky with an opportunity to help people earn a paycheck to keep a roof over their head. I am blessed with the power and opportunity and a gift of helping keep a marriage together, because business is just business. There is other things that get impacted, right, by being able to do that. So to me, to know that I have, and I think it's such a privilege, I don't take it for granted. And as I got older, I think I understand more the responsibility to have the gift from God of being responsible for His people. That's how I see it. I don't even know how to put adequate, correctly into words to give it the respect that it deserves, to be honest with you. But I am beyond grateful for the life, the skills and tools and the position and the where He's placed me in my life to do that, because I never forget, especially as I get older, I never forget the responsibility that He's handed me, and I never forget the level of gratitude that I have for that and the respect for what He's blessed me with. And I am clear on the mission of serving His children. So maybe it was a little bit too of a deep answer, but I am so just in awe of the life He's given me. I sometimes stand back and say, really, me? Like you chose me to do that? And it blows me away more and more as I get older. Because as we get older, we get wiser, hopefully. We get wiser. We understand things at a deeper level. So I'm blown away and grateful beyond measure for what I get to do every single day.
Absolutely. Absolutely amazing. So the empowerment quote for today was, act as if what you do make a difference. It does, by William James. Please share what this quote truly means to you.
It means to me, and I hope it means something along the lines of the same for everybody who's listening, that when we walk into our purpose, it is not always easy. It is easy to say, nobody cares, it doesn't matter, I don't matter, and we stop doing it. We allow the outside sources to determine that our purpose does not matter. What happens is we stop living in it. That is the worst thing we can do, because the truth is, it does matter. If we have certain gifts, if you genuinely 100% believe that you are walking in your purpose, I don't care if nobody's listening, you keep pushing forward. You do not stop, because exactly as the quote said, it matters. We do make an impact. The problem becomes is when we start to decide that we're not making an impact. That's very dangerous. The problem becomes when the world is a very loud place. And the big problem becomes when people close to us, around us, who don't get it, who don't have their purpose, who don't care to live in their purpose, or just don't understand our purpose, start to affect and infect and poison our purpose, our walk. And we say, it doesn't matter, we don't matter, what I do does not matter. And we set it down and we walk away. So it is so important. And I've had more challenging times not to walk away from my purpose than I've had much more lows than highs. And I felt sometimes that it doesn't matter. And sometimes I look back and say, can you imagine if I decided at some point that my purpose does not matter, all the lives I would not have affected, all the marriages I would not have saved, all the marriages that I will not get to save as I continue, because I'm still very young and I have hopefully a good 3 more decades in front of me, because I plan on working for forever, ever, ever. It's just the personality. So I tell myself, can you imagine if I let the outside world dictate that what I do doesn't matter? It would be devastating to so many people that I would not get to help. So if you know you're walking in your purpose, do not pay attention to what anybody says, because the truth is, your purpose, the key is the word your. It's yours. Nobody has to understand it. Nobody has to agree with it. Nobody has to like it. Nobody has to support it. It's very nice when all these things I just listed, when they happen, right? We're human beings. We want to be loved, supported. We want to be told we're pretty. We want to be told we're doing everything right. Human nature, we're all made the same way at the end of the day. But if you don't get that, That is not the deciding factor, that what you do does not matter. So as long as you know you're walking in your purpose, that is the only thing that you need to move forward. Because the truth is, it matters. And one of the biggest things I've learned, this completely blew me away, and I learned that when I could see backwards, when I had enough years to look back upon, is that the truth is, we never really know whose life we impact when. We don't know. I've had people tell me, do you remember this thing you told me 5-10 years ago? Usually I'll say, I have no idea what you're talking about, but they remember 10 years ago what I told them in a sentence that impacted the rest of their life. So don't decide that what you do and don't say doesn't matter, because most likely it does. People just don't tell you about it.
Absolutely. I love that. That's good. That's absolutely amazing. So what would you say is the best advice that you've ever received, and who gave it to you?
The best advice is my mentor of many, many, many years. The best advice was to stay the course. I was on my journey of being of service to people. It's not easy. It's hard. People are complicated. We already talked about it. And I would want to get off the path. I would want to get off the ride. I would want to get off the bus, whatever you call it. I wanted to get off many times. I would say I'm not far enough in life because I'm an overachiever by nature. I want everything yesterday in maximum capacity. That's the animal. That's the personality. That's just an A-type personality. And I would want to get off the ride. Maybe I should do something else. Maybe this, maybe that. And he would always tell me, stay the course. You are precisely where God needs you to be at this time. You are learning your craft. You're sharpening your skills. You're where you need to be. Stay the course, which is extremely difficult to do, especially when you're feeling down. But absolutely the best advice ever. And for those of you that are, you're on the right path, it just gets complicated. Stay the course. Don't set down that ball, because the only thing you do is lose momentum. That's it. That's all that happens. But absolutely stay the course. One of the most emotionally and financially beneficial and profitable advices I've ever received.
Absolutely. Simply amazing. So I know that you have shared so much great advice with the listeners today, but if you could just give them one piece of advice to help them empower their own growth and success journey, what would that be?
It would be the same thing that I remind myself on a daily basis, and this is the following. And I hope everybody really embraces it at its face value and processes the following. Life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the main performance. So what do I mean by that? People act as if this is a trial run, and when this life is over on this earth, we'll get an actual go at it. Kids, this is it. When the clock is out, the clock is out. So, and you will look back at the life, and we will look at it this two ways. There's no third option here. I guarantee you. It's either you get off the stage of life and you get a standing ovation because you got on a stage of life and you left everything on it, or you will look at the stage of life and know that you never got on it to begin with. There is no third option. Nobody will ever convince me that there is a third option. It's as black and white as that. You either act your heart out on the stage of life and leave every drop of sweat, blood, and tears on it, and when you get off, you will crawl off the stage, and when the lights go out, you'll say, I could not have done better. Or you will look back when you're too damn old and tired to do anything about it, and know that you were too afraid to get on the stage of life to begin with. So life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the main performance.
Wow, that's good. That's absolutely good. I absolutely love it. So please share with the listeners what's coming up on the horizon for you.
Absolutely. I am super excited about, I am putting together a year-long inner circle for a limited amount of entrepreneurs and CEOs. So the objective is we're going to meet at location, at a really fancy location, every 4 months. It's going to be the same group of people every 4 months. And then each month, and then set up a game plan for 12 months. Those will be the face-to-face meetings, very small, intimate, so I want to make sure everybody gets all of my undivided attention. And then throughout the year, we're going to communicate at least twice a month to help them stay on their path, because I am extremely passionate about helping CEOs stay on the path of profitability, because I understand that if I teach one CEO how to be profitable, they go out and they create jobs and opportunities for many, 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 many people. So that is in the works for 2020.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for sharing your amazing story and journey. Please take the time now to share with our listeners on how they can stay connected with you and support your efforts.
Absolutely. So people find me, interestingly enough, 2 ways. Number one, through my personal Facebook profile, so just Regina Gulbinas. When you get on it, it will be easy to identify. Everything on it basically screams what I do. And my website, reginagulbinas.com, as simple as that. And a lot of people send me messages on Messenger or emails that they can find on the website. And just a disclosure, when it goes through my Messenger or my personal email, nobody but me sees it, because people have personal questions in regards to their business. So I always make a point to say everything is very confidential. Nobody but myself, because of the sensitive information for business owners that send me, nobody but myself has access to my personal Facebook page through the Messenger or the personal email address. So if you guys have any comments, questions, anything at all, it goes to me directly. So it's just me and you at that point.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. This has been absolutely amazing having you as a guest on the show. I truly enjoyed, hearing your story, and, you shared some amazing advice. And so, again, I just want to say thank you, and I wish you much success and blessings as you continue on your journey.
Thank you so much. This genuinely has been a massive amount of pleasure. It really has been. Thank you so much for having me. You're amazing.
Thank you, and you're so welcome. So, listeners, thank you for tuning into tonight's show with our special guest, Regina Gulbinas. Regina shared her amazing story and journey to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. And she also shared that life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the main performance. Don't act like it's a trial run. This is it. When the clock is out, it's out. There's no third option. So get on the stage of life and get a standing ovation, or don't, and you will look at it, you will look back at it and see you were too afraid to actually get on the stage. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, starting your own radio show or low-cost advertising, highlighting your book, business, or events, please email envisionb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week, where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journeys in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to be your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit EmPowerOnPurpose.com. And remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.